Hi guys and welcome to Faewood. So today I'm working on my necklace. I will be honest, I've been putting this one off for a little bit because, well, firstly I had some other projects, as you will have seen. Some of them have come out already, and also I just haven't really been sure how to do this next part of the necklace. It's the worst when you get to that point in something that you're actually really excited to make, where you feel a bit stuck and you're not wanting to wreck what you've done so far because you like what you've done so far, but at the same time, like, you know, I just don't know how I'm going to achieve what I want to achieve, I guess, because I'm going to try something a little bit different, which, you know, look, is common on here. I do that a lot. Not entirely different, like not techniques I haven't done before per se, but just in a different way, I guess. So if you've been following along and you know where I'm at with the necklace, I'll just hold it up here. This is what we have so far. So this is basically one side of the necklace, you know, to go like around the neck. Obviously I haven't cut it out yet, so that's going to be next. And then from that point, I want to put some wire that looks like, I want to create basically looking like vines or just moss covered branches or something like that coming out from here. And at the bottom of each, I'm thinking I'll have a little flower. I've been sort of rifling through my beads to see what I like, and I've had a few different options come to mind, and honestly not sure which direction I'm going to go yet. I think I know, but I'm weighing up a few things. I've also been like going through like all my felt stuff, so wool and silk and stuff like that, like felting supplies, to see what I have. I don't exactly have the colours that I wish I had, but I think I can make it work. So I don't know if I'm going wool or silk yet, but I'm fairly sure it's going to be more of a silk fusion technique rather than a wet felted technique, just because I think it's going to be a little tricky to get into all the nooks and crannies enough to properly felt it. But I may still use some wool, and that can naturally felt just by working it, you know, anyway. So, and that might add some stability as well. So I have this nice big bit of wool, which is a lovely bright green. I was kind of hoping for, like, and I couldn't remember what I had in there. I thought I might have had something that was a little bit darker. I might sort of stick to some more of this darker green. I do have this green, which is okay, but I was hoping for something not as yellow tone, not as sort of army green, like, so I mean, holding it up with this, like, there's very much the emerald green and teal colours in there, where I feel like this maybe doesn't really go. This will go, but it is brighter than I was thinking. So, and I do also have a bit of, like, they call it throaster's waste. I'll get it out. Now this might help me achieve the colour that I want a little bit, I'm hoping. So this is it. It's got a lot of the teal greeny colours in it. Still a little lighter in colour than I probably would have ideally wanted, but I think I can probably make that work. So I've got some things in front of me. I will need to take it down onto the table in a minute to work out what we're going to do. What I'm thinking is, so I have this tubing for beadwork. I've got a whole bunch of it actually. I bought, look at that big mess. I don't know how I'm going to untangle that. I'm probably honestly going to not, and just pull some lengths out of it in the middle somewhere, because, whoa. So what I'm thinking, because I'm concerned, what my thought was I was going to do some felting over wire, but my concern with that is that, like, if you don't felt it fully enough, some of the wire will show through, and I don't seem to have any green wire on hand, so I don't really want that showing through at all. And I don't know, I think this tubing might be the ticket though, because at least if it shows through it's black, it's not really visible, and it does add a bit of thickness as well to the wire. So this is a really thin type of tubing. I do have a couple other thicknesses. I don't know if you can even see that, hang on. So I do have this thickness here, which is 4mm. I have 4mm, I have 2.5mm, and then I have a more Big Mama one. Now, so none of these ones actually have wire in them. I do have one that I usually buy from the hardware store, which is this, which is obviously not for beadwork, but I love it. And that only comes in one thickness, so that is possible to use too, but I actually think this may be too thick for what I want. I could possibly use one section of it, I think, on the other side. So what I'm needing to do, as well as having the little tendrils coming out the base of the necklace, and if if you're looking at all this that I'm talking about and going, what are you talking about, and you haven't seen the videos, probably go back and have a look at the video where I'm planning out the necklace, because I sketch out a very rough idea of what I want to do. But to quickly sort of explain, I want wire coming out there with moss on it, and then wire coming down there, and the clasp, I think at the back, or I could clasp it here, either way, but that's going to then create the other side of my necklace so that it swoops around the neck. And then on this side, it's all going to be the mossy green stuff that I'm creating today. And then on this side, eventually what I'm hoping to put on there are some little fairies or possibly flowers. Depends what I'm able to achieve with the dip resins that I have. So let's get started. So be very careful cutting around the stitches as always, but I do try and get very close to them so that I can trim off all the excess and not have any stiff stuff showing on the edges too much. Then I just wanted to make sure I got the lengths of these right, really. I want it to look really organic, so I did play around with the lengths just to make sure they were all a little bit random. So the wire is going to help me both attach the beads to the end, make it adjustable as well once it's finished, so I can move those little tendril things around, and it's also going to be something to help me attach it to the necklace itself. I'll probably glue and sew it on underneath. Okay, so I've made this little sprig, I guess you would say, out of the tubing, and then I've used some craft wire in between, like in the middle, this red stuff. I used the red because you can see the tip of it through the flower, and these are just little acrylic flowers I had in my stash with a check glass flower on top to give it like a little double cup look, like a little buttercup, I guess, or something, like a red buttercup it kind of looks like. But Then yeah, I've just bent the wire over at the top to stop them coming off, and then fastened them together at the base here. So I don't know how this is going to go, but what I'm going to try to do is to now coat them with my fibres. So I've got a whole range of different fibres, you know, the wool, probably more this wool here, and then I do have some silk as well in yellowy green tones, and then the throaster's waist stuff as well. So I think I'll probably do a base of one or other of these, the wool or the silk, doesn't really matter, because I'm using a medium to bind it. I can use anything. So what I've done is I put some water and dishwasher in here, because you want soapy water when you're doing a medium, or even when you're doing wet felting, you want soapy water to penetrate all the fibres. It just allows things to really start to grab. So even if you're doing like wet felting, you want your soapy water first before you start doing the felting, which is just then agitating the fibres. I'm doing, instead of that, the varnish. So I'll probably just use this as is and start trying to build up the fibres around the tubing. Hopefully this goes okay. So this technique is referred to as silk fusion, or sometimes silk paper. Basically, instead of using friction to bind the fibres together like you would with wet or dry wool felting, you're using a medium instead. Now the soapy water will allow the medium to penetrate through to the lower fibres. If you don't use the soapy water, it can cause trouble, and you will find that the outer fibres bind together well and the fibres underneath tend to not get the medium. It doesn't penetrate all the way through. And I figured using this twisting technique and twisting the fibres up around the stems would add extra strength to the piece. Now I haven't watered down this medium at all. I do want this very structural, so I'm just going straight in with the gloss medium as is. If you were making something that you wanted to be more like fabric or more like a soft piece of paper, then people do often water this down. I think 60-40 ratio. Now I did go in with these wool locks. I was calling it Throaster's Waist for some reason, which does have a similar kind of texture, I guess. And it's just a way to add some extra dimension into things by using things like the locks or like the Throaster's Waist. I was also using it because I wanted to add some different colour into the piece, because I wanted more of a teal. I would have preferred probably an emerald green in there as well, but I didn't actually have any. Now this part that I'm creating is for the other side of the necklace. So I was making the little fringed tendril bits before, and now these are for the other side of the necklace. This part's tricky. Now I did try the necklace on as much as I can for an unfinished necklace, and tried to get the length right, which again was tricky because I want to probably not plait them, but I want to mingle them in and make it look like they're growing around each other, and I don't know how much length I'll need for that until I actually go ahead and do it. So I was a little bit more generous than I probably needed to be, just to be sure that I could do that. Alright, I'm going to leave it at that for now. I need this to dry a little bit. What I usually do is come in the next day with another layer of this once some of the moisture's dried out, and that just adds some more strength to it. It's usually still damp by that stage as well. I'm not sure yet how I'm going to do this part of the necklace because I need to get it just the right length, and I do want it intertwined a little bit, so I've left it open, and I may add some more fibres to it as well, but I'm going to let it dry for now so that at least the tubing is covered and strong. And then I need to put the mushrooms in there as well, so I probably will do that more so once I've formed this into exactly the shape I want. I'll wrap that around, and I'll probably have to put some more fibres again to cover up the wire. Or possibly beadwork, but I think maybe some fibres first and then beadwork. So that's what we've got for the moment. I'll be back by the magic of television to do some more on this. So I've decided to leave it at that for this video because I then go on to create some of the wings out of the dip resin, and this video would be super long if I added that in here as well. So this is just a look at how I've created these elements. Make sure you hit subscribe if you want to see where this necklace is going, and for the rest of you, I'll see you next time in Faewood. Bye guys.